Hello, everyone, and welcome to day two of our Building Strong Classroom Community Challenge. I'm excited to do this again. Day two. Yesterday was day one. We talked about the inner climate, and I'm sure that most of us have learned something. I've started getting feedback. So if you want to follow this up, please just search with the hashtag Building Strong Classroom Community Challenge and you would follow me. So today we're talking about the psychological safety first, why students won't engage where they don't feel safe. I may make reference to day ones, talking about that the atmospheric condition of the classroom is being set consciously and unconsciously by an adult who happens to be the teacher in the class. And without the adult, whatever I see, like I said in day one, the teacher actually prompts whatever happens in the classroom. Yes. If the teacher feels tense, of course the class is going to feel tense. If the teacher feels restless, the classroom will also feel restless. So it's an aura. It's something that shoots from the teacher's um you know, inner self. So let's look at the psychological safety. And before we talk about rules, routines, or rigor, we need to pause, okay? Because many classrooms try to build structure on top of fear without realizing it. But you see, learning does not begin with instruction, it begins with permission. And not just anyhow permission. I'm talking about emotional permission. The permission to be wrong without being ridiculed. That's the permission to try without being shamed. When students do not feel safe, their energy goes into self-protection, not participation. And that is why engagement drops and curiosity actually fades in the classroom. And even capable learners withdraw. Psychological safety is not softness, it is a condition that allows effort to appear. So, until a child feels emotionally safe in a space, nothing else truly actually lands. This day, too, is all about understanding that safety is not an add on to teaching, it is the ground teaching stands on. Without this psychological safety, every strategy you want to do feels heavier than it should. Now, moving on, you see the silent classroom myth. You can see here a quiet classroom is not always a safe classroom. And I keep on talking about compliance because you see, a quiet classroom often looks successful from the outside. But silence can actually hide many things like fear of embarrassment, fear of punishment, fear of being seen. And that's why when we talk about compliance, it's easy to misread as trust, but they are not the same. A student can follow instructions while emotionally disconnected. They can sit still while internally anxious. You see, silence may simply mean the cost of speaking feels too high. When participation disappears, many teachers actually increase pressure, assuming motivation is the issue. But oftentimes, safety is the missing layer here. Now, because a truly safe classroom does not require silence to function, it invites questions, imperfect answers, and visible thinking. So, when we treat quiet as proof of success, we may be rewarding withdrawal. And the goal is not control that looks calm, it's actually trust that feels calm. And those are very different outcomes. Now, there's a simple sequence that governs engagement. Look at it. No safety leads to no curiosity, and no trust leads to no participation. Students do not lean into learning where they feel exposed because safety is what allows cognitive risk taking. Risk taking. Okay, so it gives the brain permission to explore instead of defending. And when trust is present, students would ask questions, they will attempt answers, and they will recover from mistakes. And but when it is absent, they stay quiet, they copy orders, or they just disengage entirely. And this is not defiance, it is biology responding to perceived threats. And safety does not actually remove standards, it makes standards reachable. When students feel secure, their effort will just increase naturally, and curiosity becomes possible again. So participation becomes voluntarily and not forced, because teaching becomes lighter, not you making noise. And if engagement feels hard to extract, the question is not what strategy is missing. The question is what safety signal is unclear. Moving on. You see what psychological safety actually really means? You know, that was what I was about to start, but I just had to give us some, um, good landing. Psychological safety here is not about comfort. It is about the absence of emotional threat. I'm going to take it again. It's not about comfort. It is the absence of emotional threat. It sounds like a quiet internal agreement in the student's mind. I will not be shamed for trying. A child is thinking like that. My mistake will not define me. My voice will not be used against me. And many teachers are wrong at this because they use, oh, oh, sometimes some teachers are being sarcastic. They may not mean that bad to a child, but they say it just that everyone should laugh. But to that student, they're taking it personal. You see, when these beliefs in the mind of the students exist, learning accelerates. Okay, uh, when they have that thought, that agreement, that quiet internal of, they will not be shamed. Their mistakes will not define them. Their voice will not be used against them. Their learning accelerates. And when they don't, this is what happen. They protect themselves by withdrawing. And safety is not created through speeches or posters like the one you have on the wall. No, it is built through repeated experiences of fair treatment, respectful correction, and predictable responses. And like I said yesterday, they're scanning adult for cues. How do you respond when someone gets it wrong? How do you correct without exposing? You see, this moment actually teach students whether the classroom is a place to hide or it's a place to grow. And safety is not declared, it is demonstrated. It- The biology of fear is this: it's a fear and learning do not coexist. Hmm? They cannot occupy the brain at the same time. When a student feels unsafe, the brain shifts into survival mode. Okay? It becomes dominant and scanning for threat. They're looking. And in that state, the reasoning, the memory, creativity are reduced. Okay? Now, learning shuts down not because the child refuses, but because the brain is protecting itself. And this is why repeated pressure often produce diminished returns. The student is not being stubborn here, they are being defensive. And until safety is restored, instruction struggles to land. I hope you're understanding this, okay? Why sometimes you're teaching in the classroom and they're not getting it. It's not entering, they're not responding. See, understanding this as a teacher changes how we're going to interpret behavior. What looks like disengagement may actually be self preservation, because when safety increases, the brain moves out of survivor and back into learning. Calm is not the reward for learning, calm is the requirement for it. If you haven't gotten my calm my calm course, quickly go check the link in my bio now to go get it. You will learn a lot. You will. Moving on. Trust actually comes before control. Every student that walks into the class, eh, They walk into the class asking silent questions. I said it yesterday in day one. Will you embarrass me if I get this wrong? Will you actually listen when I speak? Will you be fair when things go wrong? You see, these questions are answered long before a child breaks a rule. This is until those answers feel safe. You see, control will feel like punishment and not guidance. And this is where many power struggles begin. We try to enforce before trust is earned, but trust always comes first. And when students feel respected, rules will actually start making sense to them. Now, when they don't, the rules actually feel personal. And control without trust invites resentment or resistance and resentment. So, control with trust will invite cooperation. Okay, so authority does not disappear when we lead with safety. It becomes quieter and more effective. Students stop fighting the system because they don't feel threatened by it. That's the difference trust actually makes. Quickly, now, you see, when safety is missing, this is what happens. Behavior sends signals. Avoiding eye contact is not always disrespectful, but in some culture they feel it's disrespectful. But I'm talking to everyone. So if it's your culture, you can close your ears about it. You see, refusing to answer may not be laziness. Over reliance on copying can be a protection strategy. You see, sudden behavior start shifting. They often point to emotional overload, not defiance. So these are not defiance problems, rather discipline problems. Rather, they are safety messages that you teacher you need to start observing. The mistake we make is responding with pressure instead of curiosity. And we correct louder instead of listening closer. And when safety drops, students retreat. They minimize risk. They stay invisible. Recognizing these signs will change our response. Instead of asking, how do I stop this behavior? We should start asking what made this feel unsafe. That question shifts everything. It moves us from punishment to understanding. And understanding restores engagement faster than force will ever do. Okay, now the order of operation is this. What most classrooms mm, do in their order. We teach rules, expect behavior change, and hope trust follows. It really does. Have you noticed that? It really like teaching the rules. Then when the rules, because of the rules, they look at the wall, they look at the chart, and you are the teacher. You feel behavior is going to change, and you're going to be no, no, no. It really does. You see, the real sequence is different. Safety first, then emotional settlement. Say it after me. Safety first, then emotional settlement. Then behavior settles naturally. Structure without safety feels like pressure, but with safety, structure feels supportive. Is it when students feel emotionally secure, what happens to their nervous system? Calms down. And when they calm down, behavior just comes. It just stabilizes. And this is why some teachers seem to get cooperation effortlessly. That they are not softer, they are just safer. Okay? Their classroom feel predictable. And students know what to expect and how they will be treated. That predictability I keep on mentioning lowers anxiety. And once safety is in place, the rules actually work. Not because they're enforced harder, but because they are received differently. Are you getting it? Right? Are you following me? Okay. Am I making sense? Safety is not built through dramatic speeches, like you want to say, no, no, no. It is built quietly and in how you respond to mistakes, in whether correction is public or private, in how predictable your reactions are, in how consistent your fairness feels. Your student will start tracking this moment closely. One public embarrassment can undo weeks of effort. Have you noticed that? Have you? You see, one calm correction can restore trust quickly and they open up to you. Safety is cumulative. Hmm? It's not dramatic. It grows through repeated experiences of dignity. This is why two teachers can use the same rules and get different results. One feels safe, the other feels tense. The difference is not the system, it is the moment inside the system. And when safety is present, the students take risk and they ask questions. They try again. And the engagement will what happen is start rising without force. And it becomes lighter because the trust is doing the heavy lifting, doing the heavy lifting in your class. Trust is not built through grand gestures. No, not at all. It is built through small, repeatable moves. And when you normalize mistakes publicly, students will actually learn that errors are part of learning, not a source of shame. And when you praise effort instead of intelligence, you shift the focus from being smart to being brave enough to try. Are you getting it? So, asking before assuming changes everything. So, it tells students they matter beyond their behavior. Sometimes you get to hear that um, treat the behavior, not the individual. Hmm? Not the individual. Ask what happened. No, this is not you. This is not you. Asking before assuming. Ask. Ask. You see, separating behavior from identity protects dignity. Like I said, I just tried to explain. You correct the action without damaging the child. This move feels subtle, but they quietly rewrite the classroom climate. And students stop performing for approval. And what do? They start engaging honestly. And trust grows when children feel respected, not managed. These are not soft techniques, rather. They are precise leadership choices that create emotional stability. And emotional stability is what makes learning sustainable. So I'm not going to be long as yesterday day one. Day one, we had almost 44, 45 minutes. No, no, I try to make sure that I'm going to be very, very quick with this. Okay, so psychological safety does not mean you are lowering your standard. No, that's one of the biggest misunderstanding in education. And I know you've heard me and you think, oh, this guy, no, 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 it doesn't mean low. Actually, safety means high warmth and high expectations existing at the same time. You can see the balance, the scale, right? So it does not mean no correction, no boundaries, or no accountability. What it actually means is standards are delivered without emotional harm. You get it? Okay. Students are held to expectations without even being humiliated. Okay, now you understand, right? See, correction becomes information, not punishment. You grab? Uh-huh. I'm still here. So when safety is present, your students don't fear standard. They rise to them. They understand that discipline is about growth, not control. You see, this balance is powerful. Warmth without standard leads to chaos, and standard without warmth leads to fear. But when both are actually present, classrooms will stabilize, and your student will feel supported and challenged at the same time. Now, that is where real learning happens. Real learning happens. So the classroom shift is this. When safety becomes consistent, something shifts in the room, and students begin to attempt answers instead of waiting to be called. You see, peer learning actually increases because competition starts fading in the classroom, and the behavior, what happened, they improve without constant reminders, and engagement just become voluntarily, and you don't have to chase attention as much, and the discipline will become lighter, and you spend less energy controlling and more energy in teaching. That is not because students suddenly became easier. No, it is because their nervous system actually did what settled, and they are no longer guarding themselves. Remember, I said when they are not safe, survival mode just coming. So they are no longer guiding themselves, they are participating, and the trust in them will just change how they show up. And when they feel safe enough to try, what happens to the classroom? Your classroom starts to regulate itself. And that's the shift many of us are searching for. And thank God you heard this. So if you don't understand, go back and listen to all I just said again. Okay, that is the classroom shift many of us are doing. So before you move on from today, I want you to pause and reflect honestly. Where might your reactions feel unpredictable to students? Which learners might feel unseen, unsafe, even if they are quiet in your class? How can you correct without exposing? And you see, these questions are not meant to create guilt. No, not at all. These are meant to create awareness for you. It's just small adjustments create large emotional safety gains. You don't need to change everything at once. No. One calmer response, one private correction, one moment of curiosity instead of assumption. This shift compound. Reflection turns intention into practice, and practice is what reshapes classroom culture over time. This work does not end with this stage. Too. You see, many of us are carrying these questions alone, and that's why I'm inviting you to a community called Beyond Calling. Okay, this community exists so you don't have to go through all of this alone. It's a community where inner struggles are named and they are not hidden. It's a community where professional scars are processed, and we do not ignore that part. It's a community where we're going to have real conversations happening without judgment. So if you know safety begins with us, then you already belong here. So beyond calling is where teachers rebuild themselves so they can rebuild their classroom with clarity, strength, and calm. So check the comment section on how to be a part of this community. I wait to see you because I have been there and I want us to have real discussion, real conversation. It's more like a therapy, but it's beyond a therapy session. So see you in day 3.